So we know that Donald Trump watches between 4 and 8 hours of cable news every day. His day basically consists of him coming to the office after 11 a.m. or what is known as executive time. Now, what does he do during executive time? It's been reported in Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House by author Michael Wolff that he basically watches his 3 TVs while eating cheeseburgers in bed. That sounds like the life of a retired person, not the life of a U.S. president, the most powerful man in America. And look, I wish I was joking, right? I desperately wish that I was joking, that Trump was actually as hard as work as he claims, right? And actually doing the right thing. But look, during that time that he is not in the office, executive time, he decides he wants to tweet out his favorite show, Fox and Friends. So we've known for a long time that I was actually a big fan of Fox and Friends, his favorite show, right? Now, the reason that I bring this up is that, well, he is I've called him the Fox News president, right? And thanks to Vanity Fair, we find out how true that actually is. See, it turns out Fox News and Donald Trump are stuck in some weird sort of symbiotic relationship, and I'm going to explain how. And this is coming from a lot of quotes from people who actually work at Fox News. Now, a contributor who talked to Vanity Fair, who was unnamed, said, quote, "When you work at Fox, you knew that any moment Roger Ailes was watching. Every day was like a job interview with Ailes." So, look, that makes sense. Ailes was the brainchild behind Fox News. He actually made it into the success that it is today, much to the detriment of progressive ideals and the country as a whole. You could argue that Roger Ailes was incredibly successful, and he was very, very savvy, and he turned Fox News, and his whole idea of Fox News is, by the way, we are the media arm for the Republican Party. We're the place that Republicans can go for a conservative point of view, right? That was the whole idea behind Fox News, right? Not to report news, but to be a place for Republicans and conservatives together. And it was a brilliant idea. It was for conservatives, it was a brilliant success, right? Cable, like Fox News is one of the, I think it's the #1 cable news station in America. Again, much to the detriment of regular people. Now, so Ailes, of course, cast a large shadow. In fact, he would go and he would hand down, here's your talking points of the day to all the different Fox News hosts. This is what you have to talk about. And he would famously watch it without the sound on to be able to make sure that everything looks right. So he had the visuals and he had the talking points and all that stuff. So he cast a very, very big shadow. Now, why do I reference that? Well, Ailes is gone. But there is one person who is now casting a similar type of shadow. And for that, I go to that contributor. He said, every day was like a job interview with Ailes, but now it's the same way for Trump. So Trump casts that same kind of shadow. Now, he's not handing out specific talking points to all the different Fox News hosts, but his influence is felt. Vanity Fair describes him as looming over the network, right? And there's a reason for that, right? Again, so what he does, it watches 4 to 8 hours a day, watches Fox and Friends. It's his favorite show. And this, according to a Fox anchor, says afterwards, what he usually does is he'll call after a show and say, I really enjoyed that. So he calls in. Not only does he watch Fox News and he tweets at them, but he also calls in and gives compliments. In fact, they said the highest compliment is, I really learned something. And that Fox anchor said, when he says that to you, it means he's got a new policy idea. Now, here you have a sitting president who watches cable news, even the cable news he hates, but mostly cable news that he likes, Fox News and Fox and Friends, all the time, who is now learning and getting policy ideas from Fox News. This is a nightmare. We're living in a nightmare, folks. This is completely unprecedented, right? Now, again, now, as I said about that shadow, going back to that, Vanity Fair writes that the so-called audience of one has staff aware what they do and say is being monitored, again, by the President of the United States. Now, that makes the point that Fox News is catering now to one person. And you could argue to a lot of people because they're a lot like him. They're catering specifically to Donald Trump and people who support him, who think just like him. Now you can go into the chicken or the egg thing. Did Fox News mold Trump? Or is Fox News now being molded by Trump? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It's really, really weird. I don't even know if that's the correct kind of a metaphor or analogy. But what I do know is I have more quotes for you. They say, one Fox executive said, that Trump has the same embattled view as a typical Fox News viewer, that the liberal elites hate me, that they're trying to bring me down. Now, that's important. Now, it's also kind of true, but not because he's a conservative, not because we disagree with some of his ideas. Well, actually, it is partly because we disagree with some of his ideas, because they're terrible. They're exceptionally terrible, but not unlike other Republican ideas. So he is, again, your typical Republican Party, pro-corporate, pro-war shill, right? That's what he is. Except he marketed himself as something completely different. And so, yes, are liberals trying to bring him down? Yeah, of course. Because his policies are absolutely terrible. And they're not aligned with factual reality. But here's another, right? Now, according to Vanity Fair, the relationship makes it extremely complicated to cover the administration's near constant conflagrations. So that's one of the problems here of having this symbiotic relationship. One staffer says, quote, they don't want to see stuff about Michael Wolff. It's depressing. Instead, everyone is on board with attacking Hillary Clinton and her family, which is why you will also see Donald Trump randomly attacking Hillary Clinton or anybody else that's mentioned on Fox News. So they can't report on Michael Wolff's book unless it's, of course, it's to trash it, right? And look, that's why you see the disparity in coverage, right? So Trump says something or does something uniquely terrible, passes a policy that's uniquely terrible, and all the other media companies, they talk about it, right? Except for Fox News, because guess what? They don't want to piss off the one viewer that they actually care about. They know Trump is watching, right? Now, get a load of this quote on what they think about this arrangement. A Fox executive said of Trump, quote, he's sort of viewed as this crazy person who calls in all the time. Wow. Look, that would be awesome / hilarious if it weren't so consequential. Again, this is a president who's calling a conservative propaganda network all the time to praise them or to say, hey, look, guys, I got a policy from you. I learned something. In reality, you didn't learn anything. And there have been studies that show that people that watch Fox News are actually less educated on issues than people who watch no news at all. So it actually makes you dumber. But of course, Fox News, they do this because it's good for ratings, right? And they've got their bubble. They've got their conservative base. And not only that, but again, this is what they were created. They were created to service Republicans. They were created to service this fan base. So they're not going to pop that bubble. No, they're going to continue doing what they're doing. And in the long run, end up harming the nation as a whole. Now, while they're doing that, there are people who know that's exactly what they're doing, who don't actually believe in their ideology, but do it because they have a hope of cashing in. Now, one of them is Judge Jeanine Pirro. Now, Jeanine Pirro has went on all these crazy rants talking about this and that. Crazy, Ron was giving them their money. You know, it's actually their money. It's not our money. It's money that we froze. Don't care. No, she'll harp on the Iran deal all day long. Oh, I can't believe we gave them so much money. They're $300 billion. Oh, my God. Not true. But she does that and then praises Trump because guess what? She wants to be on the Trump train. She said, according to one person who witnessed it, Pirro proclaimed that I really want a job in this administration while she was walking out of her makeup room. That's just one example. Of course, there are other examples of people, yes, I want on the Trump administration. I want to get a job. So guess what? I'm going to kiss up. I'm going to suck up. The funny thing is that even Trump walked out of a meeting with Pirro while she was in the middle of a rant. Hilarious, right? Even he couldn't handle her. But anyway, so while there are cheerleaders at Fox, there are also some that are wary. One staffer said, quote, "It's freaky to see him tweeting at Fox and Friends. That doesn't help us. We're not state television." But actually, you're wrong. As I keep pointing out over and over again, the whole point of Fox News is to be the unofficial media arm of the Republican Party. And when Republicans are in power, guess what? That means you are state television because you don't go and criticize conservatives. Yes, there are a couple of notable examples. There's Shepard Smith and Chris Wallace, right? So those are good examples. They actually will push back against the Trump administration. But those voices are few and far between. And guess what? They're on when Donald Trump is not watching. And that's what the important part is. But look, what we're going through with the Trump presidency, campaign, administration, all that stuff is not normal. We are in uncharted territory. But think about this. When Ailes was alive, was Fox News fighting against it? I mean, sure. They weren't exactly pro-Trump until Trump started winning. And then they lined up. But no matter who was going to be the nominee and the president, Fox News was going to be behind them 100% as long as they were a Republican. And against them 100% if they're a Democrat, because that was what they were designed to do pro-Republican propaganda, and that's it. Now, it used to be that Republicans weren't so openly racist, bigoted, or even shockingly dumb. But this president has turned Fox News into a parody of itself. And if there is one thing that's positive that you can take from that, it's the fact that Fox News has gone completely off the rails to defend a madman, and I think there's no way they can return from that. So, once the base of Fox News, and the average age of a Fox News viewer is like 72. Once those people are gone, Fox News doesn't have an audience anymore. Because again, people who are younger don't trust cable news, and they especially don't trust Fox News. So while they're doing great on their fan service to Donald Trump and conservatives, they're not setting themselves up for a good future. And again, that's the one positive thing that you can take from this story. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.